my friends and paranormal lovers and all the wonderful people that will show up tonight. I want to welcome you to another wonderful Saturday evening in our nice little world. I'm hoping that the weather is not making y'all too chilly. It's a little chilly here in Pennsylvania, at least my part of Pennsylvania. And so tonight's guest is going to be a group out of Buffalo, New York. I sent them the information to log on. I'm just waiting for them to accept and join so I can bring them on. So before that, we'll just kind of hang out a little bit if that's okay with you guys. I'm open for comments. Mr. Lee has already brought up a fun little part of the conversation of anybody here, and I mentioned nothing but nobody but us chickens, because at the time I believe it was just me, and he says he loves chicken. I think everybody does. The funny thing about chicken is it tastes like chicken, like everything else. So I'm gonna open up my trusty homebrew. I still have some Lucky Charms flavored homebrew. It's supposed to taste kind of like cereal. Hello, Heather. How you doing tonight? That's it. I'm outtake here. I'm thinking he's supposed to say I'm out of here. Hey, Matt, good to see you on again. I always appreciate you coming and checking things out. Funny thing is, everybody's commenting, but it only shows one person is on. Y'all in the same room and hanging out with each other. Like I said, we'll kind of chat and see if they happen to come on. One of these days I will get a little more comfortable with being on screen by myself. Today's not the day, but that's all right. Such is life. So also please forgive me if I take a moment and look at my phone and such. So that way if they happen to comment, that if they happen to try to figure out how to get on, because not everybody's aware. We use a program called StreamYard. Pretty decent setup. Yeah, it's a pretty decent setup, that's for sure. Where we're able to stream to multiple locations, be it Twitter. We use Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, which is our primary places. If you haven't liked and subscribed there, please take a moment, like this video, and share. Here I am. I'm nervous online and on screen by myself, and I'm telling you, I'll share to make it more comfortable, right? So how's everybody tonight? Drop a comment on if you're cold or if you're living in a nice warm climate like I wish I was. Yeah. Ooh. Skunk bear. No, it's not that bad. So why don't we, while we're waiting, why don't we talk about one, leave a comment about what you would like to speak about. There's one thing that I will do a screen share on, and this I found quite interesting, and I'll read it real quick because, well, what else am I gonna do, right? Oh, you guys cannot see it that well. Pretty much, I found a website where it's onlyinyourstate.com, and it speaks of urban legends. Really breaking up. Hey, KK. UMFO. What's UMFO? Are you trying to spell MUFON, Lee? That's M Mutual UFO Network. And how you doing? Nice to see you. So I found this website. It's urban legends in your state. Of course, I had to look up where I'm at, Pennsylvania, and I found this quite interesting because my day job is not singing, but is actually as a bus driver. So let me read this paragraph to you as good as I can, since it's not showing up very well on the screen that I can see. It says, the bus to nowhere might sound like a song you would have listened to during puberty. Yeah, okay. But really, it is a mass transportation from Philadelphia's Lost and Hopeless. It is said that the bus only appears to those left truly distraught and alone by the most tragic circumstances imaginable. That's not dire. If your wife took your retirement savings and ran off to California with Brad Pitt, yay for her, or your cat ate your children while you were asleep or something of the like, I promise you I did not take a moment to read this, which I'm thinking I probably should have now, because that's some bizarre writing. But if your kids got ate by your cats and your wife ran off with Brad Pitt with all your money, the bus to nowhere would come for you. Passengers, and this is in Philadelphia. Passengers on the mystical bus sit 2 days by misery to interact with or even look at any other passengers, and it is only once you temporarily come out of this daze that you will remember to pull the cord and get off. Once you exit, you have no memory of your time on this bus, as the legend states that some have been riding the bus for years, that some will never leave. Our question is whether SEPTA is in on this or not. I don't know. That was a weird article. I should have took the time to read that before I read it on here. So that's that. Lee, what's up with the UFOs everyone is seeing in our area? I don't know. If you've seen a UFO lately, leave a comment below and let us know. Because you can relate to the bus, Lee. I'm sure you probably feel that way when you're riding my bus, I'm sure. But yeah, just Lee is mentioning about the Warren area in general. There's been a lot of comments on Facebook, and some sent to me personally, saying that they've been seeing UFO type activity lately, I'd say within the last few weeks. And I personally went outside after I got a message and looked, and heading towards the Youngsville area, Youngsville, Pennsylvania, I seen what I feel could possibly be a UFO. Matt saying no UFO near me, just strange people. So forgive me, guys. I don't generally pay that close attention to my phone. But trying to keep up with the chat or see if the guests are reaching out to me, which so far they have not. Something must come up, I'm assuming. But who knows? Maybe they'll pop in later. What do you mean, get me a watch? I was here actually on time today. Like, I was in the chat 3 or 4 minutes before I was supposed to start. For those that might be just tuning in for the first time, 99.20% of the time, I am running late when I'm on my own time. Lee, which is a co-founder of Warren Area Society Paranormal, where you're on, as I'm sure you can tell, is always after me, saying that I'm late, and he doesn't know how I could be a bus driver when I'm always so late. Go figure, huh? Matt, don't you have some pizzas to deliver? So, with that being said, have you guys ever heard of a phenomenon, if I could say that real quick, called the black-eyed children? Have you ever heard of these lovely little kids that appear to people in, well, I don't think there's any extraordinary things going on for people to see them. Just it seems to be happenstance and just generally out of nowhere. Leave a comment if you've heard of them. I know if you've been watching this show, you've heard me mention them a few times. Matt also does a show every Friday night. And I'm chuckling because I'm getting harassed in the comments. So Matt does a Matt does a weekly show on his channel. Yeah, that's probably going dead because you've been too busy harassing me. Matt, his name is he goes by the Paranormal Consultant. He's on every Friday. As a matter of fact, I was on his show last night and as a guest, which I always have a blast when I'm on his show. And we mentioned black-eyed kids a few times. So the black-eyed children, and no, they're not related to the black-eyed peas that I'm aware of. They're none of their kids. Basically is considered paranormal creatures that resemble children around the age of 6 to 16. They often are found with pale skin and pitch black eyes, and some would even claim that they're completely soulless. Now, some people have claimed, and yes, just so you're aware of it, I am kind of reading a little bit, so if it seems a little scripted, such, I apologize. I pulled up a website, so feel free to Google this if you're not quite sure what black-eyed kids happen to be. There's plenty of fascinating topics on them, as well as a movie was made about them, which I believe is written in here. So, anyways, some people claim that these children have existed as early as the 1980s, which seems weird when I say that, or as early. Most sources say that legend actually originated in 1996 in posts written by a Texas reporter named Brian Bethel, who wrote about 2 alleged encounters with the black-eyed children. He said that he encountered 2 children in Abilene, Texas, with pale skin and black eyes, and that someone had a similar experience in Portland, Oregon in 2012. Bethel retold his story on a TV show, Monsters and Mysteries in America. I don't know. Have you guys ever watched that show, Monsters and Mysteries in America? I've never heard of it. But anyways, and then he wrote an article for the Abilene Reporter News where he described his experience again. If you're from Texas and I'm slaughtering that name, I apologize. Completely soulless. Wow. Work for black-eyed children. Abilene. Thank you, Lee. Not you, Matt. Not sure what that means, why you say that. So, as I was saying, that in 2012, according to this website, which is sites.psu.education or edu /urban legends, there was a movie produced a horror film titled Black Eye Kids. And also in 2013, an episode of MSN's Weekly Strange featured different reports of the black-eyed children. Both of these things were thought to have helped spread the urban legend along. Oh, haven't seen the show. Okay. Also, I guess, according to this, landed across it says this legend even crossed bodies of water, landed in the Great Land of the UK, where in 2014 the Daily Star wrote 3 front page stories about sightings of black-eyed children in the haunted pub of Staffordshire. Boy, I am horrible with names. That's why a lot of times if I'm meeting people in person, I'm like, "Hey, bud, how you doing, dude? Hey, So, to continue on, these alleged sightings were taken very seriously by ghost hunters who believe that the black-eyed children were extraterrestrials, vampires, or ghosts. Well, if I had to guess out of those three, I would probably lean more towards spiritual. I mean, vampires, I believe exist, but not like the Bram Stoker, Dracula, that kind of deal. I believe vampires exist as in people doing rituals, possibly drinking blood and such, which I don't recommend. Probably wouldn't be very healthy for you. And extraterrestrials, I don't think they would come in the form of children. I think if, in my personal opinion, they would be along the lines of something more comforting if they were taking human shape instead of creepy kids. I mean, come on now. That would be crazy. Demonic, possibly. Yeah. That's, I wouldn't say no to such a thing. But out of the three, I would say demonic ghosts, that kind of deal. So the article continues on. Nowadays, people still claim to see that black-eyed children when driving late at night down an empty road or outside of their window late at night, or even lurking in the shadows of their room. In fact, many people have reported seeing the black-eyed children standing in the corner of their room during their episodes of sleep paralysis, or even waking up in the middle of the night because they sensed something was watching them, and in the shadows were these children. Now, see, that doesn't make much sense either, because every other article that I've read and seen has stated that you almost have to invite them into where you're living or in your vehicle or whatever. They don't just voluntarily come into where you're at. So that doesn't make sense. It's almost, that would kind of lend credence to the vampire view of it, because in folklore, they're not allowed in unless you invite them. So I recommend, if you ever have a couple of children, they always seem to come in pair, for at least 2. If you ever had them on your doorstep or trying to gain entry into your vehicle, I recommend that you say no. and Matt, I fully agree. And thanks for editing that. Yeah, I've read an article or two in my research, in my fascination, that there is some that have invited them into their home and they almost immediately regret it, feeling of being sick and just nauseated, and I believe there was even 1 or 2 that could have possibly passed out. So I don't know. So with the article, it says, now I'll leave you with a lingering question. Where are their parents? I don't know. Kind of crazy either way, if you ask me. So what do you guys think of black-eyed kids? Are they, where do you think they come from? Do you think they're born to need parents? Or is it just a entity that taken shape? Or do you believe that it could be aliens or vampires? Forgive me for trying to stumble over my words. I'm still not comfortable in front of a camera by myself. How you doing, War Dog? Hope you're doing well tonight. Appreciate all you guys jumping on YouTube. That helps out tremendously with my watch time. If you guys could take a moment and click like and give me a little support, like, heart, whatever works for your platform. I went out of my way today to really plug this show on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and all the above. This might be one of my shorter broadcasts, that's for sure. So are you guys enjoying me read these articles, or is this something that you guys are just not quite into? Let me know, because I have some the next site I have is through a webpage called the Thought Catalog, and it says terrifying encounters with the black-eyed kids. If you could comment that you're good with me reading these still, I'll continue on. If you don't care for such a topic, feel free to ask me any questions. I'll try to answer them as soon as I see them, as long as they're appropriate. Don't ask me about my fedora size. I really appreciate you guys bearing with me either way. Sooner or later, I'll be comfortable with hanging out and just acting like this is just a friendly, chilling spot with everybody. If everybody was hanging around a campfire with me, that'd be cool. Boy, I haven't talked this much in my life in some time. Yeah, right. Yeah, I bet it did, Matt. It's a little bit, my fedora is a little bit larger than the one you had on last night. So, let's see. With that being said, wow, there is an actual encounter on a bus. Can you believe that? Even if you don't want me to read this to you guys, I think I'm going to have to. So, one of the encounters with the black-eyed kids, and gosh, I hope this is not as bad as that other one with the talk about kids eating, or the cats eating kids and all that. That was a weird article. So, bus encounter with the black-eyed kids. It says, I was riding the bus back home after work. It was about 1 a.m. Oh, God, I never want to be driving a bus at 1 in the morning. But then again, I drive at like 4:30 in the morning, so it's not that far off. So anyways, he was riding the bus at about 1 a.m. I'm a security guard and often work odd hours. So I'm sitting there. This guy gets on, sits across from me. He was wearing a suit, had a briefcase, a regular looking guy in his 20s. What struck me about him at first was that he was chewing a cigar, not smoking it. Yuck. You can't smoke on the bus, which is pretty much true everywhere now. So I was just looking at him while he stared out the window and chewed his cigar. All of a sudden, he turned and looked at me. His eyes were pitch black, just as described. My heart started beating like a mad mofo, and I felt my gorge rising, Gorge. I was starting to panic, and I had no idea why. I was just pants shatting, terrified of this guy. Then he grinned at me, and his teeth were all covered in tobacco bits and brown juice, with a cigar clamped between them. I almost screamed, but instead I had the presence of mind to just get up and take the seat right behind the driver. Which of those that may not be used to public transit or just have not thought about it, if you ever have an issue on a city bus, yeah, get close to the driver. We'll notice you moving, and we'll definitely pay attention. Most of us will. So after he goes to behind the driver, he says, I calmed down a bit after that, but I kept an eye on the guy. He ended up chatting with some girl that got on. They were still talking when I got off. I later convinced myself he was just trolling me and having fun with a pair of contacts. Now I wonder, black-eyed kids are some type of alien species that come to our planet. And I don't know if you caught the last article I read. One thing they did say was they might be extraterrestrial aliens. I don't think I fully fall behind that. I believe that if it was aliens, that they would choose a more non-threatening form. You know what I mean? Talk about the amazing shows you were on last night. The nice thing about that, Matt, is when you're on a show with somebody, it's just easy to collaborate off each other and kind of bounce off each other and match each other's energies. When you're on your own, you're just kind of not sure if you should be having higher energy levels, lower, if you're just rambling on about nothing or something, just it's odd. And there's people out there, shameless plug, no doubt. There's people out there that could talk like this for hours with no hesitation, no real issues, and I give them credit. It is not an easy thing to do. But then again, I've never been really comfortable in front of crowds or anything that puts spotlight just on me. It's easy to pass it off on somebody else. That's like when I was we were part of a local paranormal convention, and I went on a internet radio show to talk about it. And so I was all gung-ho, ready to go, have all these questions in my mind that I would have answers to, and all kinds of go. And the radio host threw me for a loop by asking me a question about, tell us about your group. And the only thing that came to mind was, well, we're a small group. I mean, even today, we've been a group for, I think we're working towards our 11th year now. Even today, if somebody were to ask me that, I really don't have a very thorough, decent answer. If it's one-on-one, yeah, I'm sure I could come up with something pretty quick, but the whole public spotlight, albeit several of you right now, really throws you for a loop. So if you find any value of this, you know what to do. And speaking of which, I'm kind of want to put for a call to action out there. My YouTube channel, Ordinary Society Paranormal, has been sitting at 139 subscribers for about 2 weeks now, and every day I'm checking for that last one to bring us to 140. So if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, well, one of you just at least one of you just go and subscribe so we could hit that 140 mark. And thank you, Matt. I really appreciate that, my friend. You've always been decent and jumping in and sharing, keeping positive vibes on this. Let's see. So I'm stuck at 15. And yes, by all means, Matt is at 15 on his YouTube channel. He's doing great, though. I don't think he realizes that 15 is a good start. That you have 15 people to take the time out of their lives to like your channel. And this is his YouTube account that he's talking from. So show him some love, too, if you have the time. So more about the Black Eyed Kids. 10 facts. See, I really like the Black Eyed Kids. Now here's an interesting question. I got a couple for you guys if you want to leave a comment. No, Matt, you need to get one that's a little more appropriate for your bigger head. And I could say that because my head is not exactly small. So my questions to you, if you know the answer, feel free to jump on and leave an answer. And the question is, how come a vampire, according to the lore, would be able to see themselves in a mirror that's modern? And I would say last 100 years at least, if not a little later. How come they're able to see their reflection now, whereas opposed to before, they weren't able to? In about 20 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, I'll give the answer. Then I'll ask you another question, one that me and Lee has debated a few times. Lee, if you're still here, you could answer that when I ask it. So 10 facts about the Black Eyed Kids, and I have not read over these, so we will be learning these together. If there's something different than what I've heard, I will mention it. So the 10 facts are Black Eyed Kids. Well, let's see if I can share it, and it'll be visible for everybody to see. Let's see. I'm getting pretty good at the sharing stuff. Yeah. Is that gonna work for you guys? gonna give you guys seizures. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh boy. We will try that one more time, and if it has that same issue again, we'll stop. Oh, yeah. I don't think you guys will be able to see that. Let's see if I zoom in a little bit. No. So anyways, 10 facts about the Black Eyed Kids. Now it's going to zoom in real big. Black Eyed Kids, it says Black Eyed Kids will look like normal human children between the ages of 6 and 16, but with pale skin and completely black eyes. Yes, that's pretty much what I've heard. Additionally, people who have been in close proximity to Black Eyed Kids report a feeling of unease that washes over them. While nothing about the children's appearance, aside from their eyes, genuinely frightened the people, they still reported a feeling ranging from anxiety to terror at their presence. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a single report about these guys, people finding peace around them and such. It was always trepidation over them. Some people have also reported seeing Black Eyed Kids that have talons for feet or other demonic attributes, but most sightings are seemingly normal children. That's new. I never heard that before. Kind of crazy. Black Eyed Kids are also commonly described as wearing dated clothing or dressing in a manner that is not typical of a normal child their age. Yeah, I hate to make this comparison, but I've heard a lot of people kind of describe like little house of the prairie Amish type clothing, like very, very modest dressings. So I have heard that myself. Um, Black-eyed children always ask for something. There's always something that involves being in closed quarters with you. Ask for a ride in your vehicle or into your home or to use the phone. And that's pretty much all the stories that I've heard too. Was they almost get angry if you refuse to let them in, and that's kind of the part where they'll like. I never heard them physically attack a house, but I have heard them um, pounding on cars and getting really aggressive with the cars and such. It says there are no reported stories of what happens when you let a black-eyed kid into your vehicle or home. All stories come from people whose eerie feelings made them flee from the children. Well, now what I've read a few places where, like, one person reported letting the kids in because it was like 2:00 in the morning, raining outside, and they were really worried because they're kids for all intents and purposes, and they said that she let them in and almost immediately felt like a energy rush over her and get her to feel really nauseous and start throwing up until she blacked out. And then when she came back to, they were gone. So no other reports by this person as to like long-term effects or anything that I've seen. So I don't agree with that fact. The earliest sighting of a black-eyed kid was journalist Brian Bethel in 1996. That's the one that's mostly credited with it. This story has been added to internet creepypasta lore, but to this day, Bethel insists that the incident was real and happened the way he reported. Well, like any kind of horror themed stuff, of course, you're going to get stories, creepy urban legend stories and such about them. And Matt, yeah, the Talon Feet is new to me too. And yeah, I would say the feeling the person had almost felt like the reportings of an EMF poisoning. So you think maybe that's what's going on, is they're projecting high EMF field around them, and that's why people are feeling the way they are. In 2014, a British paper reported that sightings of black-eyed kids around the world are rising. It was for a while, but then it kind of died out. I haven't seen many reports of EMFs going, or sorry, Matt got me thinking about that. Many reports of black-eyed kids. Actually, most people I ask nowadays really don't know much about them, which is fascinating. And, I'm almost equating the surges to be like the clowns. Remember back in about 10 years ago, I'd say, people were seeing all kinds of clowns and such, and it was like really crazy. And then, believe it or not, back in like the 50s, a lot of people weren't aware there was a bunch of clowns being reported being seen too. So it was something else. And I wonder if these are the same way. Just last time that they were seen was before there was any real media or anything about that. So is this one of those things where every 20 years or so it pops up? Maybe they're gotta get my arrow to go, my mouse to go over to the second screen. But yeah, maybe they are one and the same, like same entities that go in surges and could change from children to clowns, like shape-shifting. Maybe same spirit, different form, as Matt just said. Yeah, you know what, that's a theory. I don't think I've ever heard anybody else say that. So possibly theories about the black-eyed kids are that they are vampires, aliens, or of demonic origin. like I said, I'm leaning more towards demonic slash ghosts, but you know. And the question I asked was, how come vampires could see themselves now? And the answer that we got is yes. Antique mirrors used real silver for the backing. And, you know, of course, silver is very related to the paranormal stories and such. And so they weren't able to see themselves. And now, most of it is not backed by silver. So they could see their reflection. So they can make sure that their fedoras are on straight. Good job, Lee. Glad that you're able to find that. Shapeshifter equates to demonics. Well, that's an interesting thing there, Matt, but I don't agree. Go figure, right? As my viewerships drop. I do appreciate those that have stuck around this long to join me on my rant and talk about the Black Eyed Kids and such. I really appreciate that because we were supposed to have a guest on tonight. Something happened to where they weren't able to come. I'm sure they'll get a hold of me later and let me know. And we will definitely set up another time for them to come on. And we'll go from there. So back to what I'm saying. Now, I kind of have to say that I don't agree with the shapeshifters equates to demonics because there's a lot of lore of the Native Americans and such that they had shapeshifters and such, and they never referred to them as being demonic that I'm aware of. From my understanding, a lot of them were very spiritually attuned to I wouldn't say good side, but I would definitely not say bad side. There's also, I believe, in modern day Wiccan and such, and Druidism, which I don't know much about either, where they are capable of some kind of form shifting, though it's generally not like full body animal transitions and things like that, but little things like changing the shape of their face and things like that to make them more to kind of not be distinguishable to what they normally look like. Now, I don't know if I fully believe in all that, but that's what I've heard. So it's so I would say that yes, it's very possible that shape shifting would be possibly demonic, but I don't believe that that's the case. It seems like our friend Jay, wow, as he likes to be referred as, just jumped in to lend some spirited energy to the chat. So, hey, Jay, I hope you're doing good tonight. If you're watching this and you haven't made a comment yet, feel free to say hi real quick. Help me get my 140th subscriber on my YouTube channel. That would be awesome. And Matt, the only reason why I think that is lower level demonics tend to try and get your guard down so children would make sense to take the form. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I don't understand why you would say that. I would think, though, they're going about it all wrong because there's not a single time where I've seen that somebody is having contact with these black-eyed kids that were make them lower their guards. But then again, I'm sure there's many things that are not reported. So that's about Halloween. I'm scrolling through this with you guys. I have not. Wow, that's a long one there. I have not read these, so I'm kind of reading these with you guys. I don't know what I just did. I was trying to click out of the ad, and there we go. So, yeah, you're probably pretty right on that, Matt. Um, that, yeah, we'll just leave it on that. So here's another reporting from the Black Eyed Kids. So what would you do if you guys ran into the Black Eyed Kids? Personally, I think I'd probably drop kick them, but I guess it all depends on the situation. If we were out on investigation and they came around, I would probably try to interact and see if I can get some answers safely, as safely as possible. I'd also wouldn't do it in a client's home if some reason we're in somebody's place and they showed up. That would be inviting trouble. Yeah, definitely definitely a crane kick because I'm very talented enough to use one of those. Kick them like a football. Yeah, yeah, definitely like a football. And yes, we were kind of referring to several things last night on Matt's show. So number 4, you must let me in. We'll get back to that. On March 17th in 08, I had my one and only encounter with a black-eyed kid. Before my experience, I had never heard of anything having to do with the black-eyed kids. I was 12. Yeah, that's pretty young. I was sitting outside of a hairdresser's in an old Chevy pickup waiting for my mom to get her hair cut. That sounds like a country song. About 15 minutes had passed, and I saw some kid walking back and forth along the sidewalk in front of my parked car. I think I've heard this one before. At first, I thought I recognized him as one of my friends from school, so I banged on the front windshield until he looked my way. Yeah, this was a very interesting one. It was not anyone I knew. At this point, I was not scared at all. Being 12, just another normal kid for the most part. I can see why he wouldn't be scared yet. He goes on and says, the boy walked over to the side of my car and just stares. I think to let me get a good look at his eyes. To freak me out. Let me tell you, if you have never seen a black-eyed kid, which I haven't, you have no idea what to imagine. Pupils black as the night sky. And the boy whispers, you must let me in. And then I locked the car doors and ducked down into space below the seats. Yeah, I could understand that. 5 minutes later, he was gone. Wow, they really cut this one short. When my mother got into the car, she told me a boy with black eyes had came into the hairdresser's and had insisted for my mother to give him the keys to the car. She refused. Thank God she did. The story is pretty close to this one, if it's not the same one. From the name on it is Big Taco 123. Anyways, where it just said that the kid kept pounding on the window saying, let me in. You need to let me in, and threatening and all that. So it was pretty good story. I don't know why they cut it down here. Maybe didn't have the space or whatever. I'm not sure. I'm not sure why they cut it down. I don't know what I would do if I was in a vehicle and one came up to it. And I'll tell you a story about when I was an over-the-road truck driver in Detroit, Michigan. I was backing up to the loading dock and in Detroit, and I backed into a trailer. There was no vehicle attached to it. It was just a trailer. And it wasn't nothing major. It didn't even leave a ding or a dent, but I'm sure it shook it, and it was pretty loud on the inside, I guess, because they were unloading from that trailer. And it wasn't but a minute later I seen this shorter, stocky Mexican-looking gentleman come around the corner with a bunch of other coworkers that were probably about 3 feet taller than him and just as stocky, I'd say. Come around that corner and they locked eyes with me. And I locked the doors to my truck pretty quick. I'll put it to you that way. And they come up and the Spanish looking gentleman got his chest all puffed up and he looks at me through the window. Yes, the window was closed. And he's like, Did you hit our trailer? And I think he was ready to rip that door off my truck. And I was like, Yes, sir, I did. And as soon as I admitted to it, and there was no reason for me not to, just all the anger and energy, just like you could see it physically leave his body, and he relaxed a little bit. But like I said, I quickly closed those doors or locked those doors and made sure the window was shut. And so the encounter worked out pretty decent. We took a minute and he went in and talked to his boss. He came back out on his own and he said, All right, I talked to my boss. Be careful next time. And, of course I had the door open, window down at that point because I could tell that I wasn't about to die in Detroit after that point. Yeah, so I imagine that kid probably was feeling like I was. So Matt says he'd let one in if it formed like a Girl Scout with cookies. I'm a fat kid. Laugh out loud. What's your favorite Girl Scout cookie? I think mine would be the, I don't know the name of them. They're the peanut butter ones with the thin layer of peanut butter and the chocolate around it. If you know what they are, feel free to comment what they are so I know what to order. But I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me. This might be one of my shorter broadcasts. I just might sit here for about 3 hours just doing nothing but chat. Oh, come on. That's like the typical answer of everybody. They don't know Girl Scout cookies. That's the only one they know is Thin Mints. Are black-eyed kids real? They just started. Trick or treat. Huh. You guys in the mood to hear a trick or treat story about black-eyed kids? Why not? So, according to this person, this report goes as follows. This really freaked me out. Yet, ... Yesterday, I noticed my neighbor had not put out all his Halloween decoration, lights, etc. Which, if you're into that, you look for the decorations such. I love Halloween decorations. So anyways, the past 2 years I've lived next to him. He's gone all out for Halloween. I don't know him well. He's younger, single, but I know he likes kids and not in the creepy way. They felt the need to point that out because that did sound a little creepy. His brother and sister-in-law and their kids are always visiting him, and he plays with his 3 young nieces and nephews out in the yard. So anyway, I got home from work and was walking up my driveway, and I saw him outside and said something like, Hey, man, you better get your Halloween stuff up or that house up the street is going to beat you for best decorations. He kind of smiles sheepishly and says that he's actually going to keep his house dark this year and just put candy out. Yeah, with a sign that says, Just take one, because, everybody's going to take one. So anyways, I asked if he was going out of town, but he said no. Something happened last year that really scared him. I was concerned for my own safety if some weirdos were coming around our neighborhood, which is a pretty safe neighborhood with tons of young families living here. So I asked him what happened. He said last year he had his brother's family over so they could trick or treat in the neighborhood since they live in an apartment complex that doesn't do much for Halloween. He had a bunch of kids come to the door like always. His family took off around 10:30, and there were only a few older trick-or-treaters. But by 11:30, they were pretty much done. I don't know about you guys, but most Halloween is done. Most trick or treating hours are done by no later than like 8, 9 o'clock. I don't know about this 11:30 deal. But anyways, so he was inside watching TV, and the doorbell rings. He grabs the candy bowl and heads over, noticing that it's a little past midnight, and that's pretty rude for trick or treaters to still be out. I don't know. Have you guys ever had a trick or treater at your door at midnight? So, anyways, but then he knows that he hasn't turned off all his decoration lights yet, so his house is still a beacon. He swings the door open and is about to yell, "Boo!" or something to freak them out, but stops dead when he sees the kids at the door. And remind me to mention about me being scared by somebody saying "boo." But stops dead when he sees the kids at the door. He said one was probably around 13, 14, and the other around 16, 17, both boys. They weren't dressed up, but he remembers the older one was wearing a plain old checkered shirt. He was immediately overcome with uneasiness, like opening the door was a huge mistake. Well, it's after midnight, and you're getting trick-or-treaters. They just stared at him, and he noticed that they had really big irises and dilated pupils. Sounds like they were on acid. He couldn't even see the whites of their eyes, so he figured they were contact lenses. He was frozen there holding the candy bowl, like he couldn't slam the door in their faces as much as he wanted to. So he nervously tried to smile at them, hoping they would break character and ask for candy or something. The younger one said they had gotten lost and needed to come in and use his phone. That was when he closed the door more than halfway on them and said, "No, sorry." And the older one said something like, "Can we just wait in your house until our parents come get us?" But by then he was convinced that his life was in danger, and these kids must be high on something. See what I said? Or intending to rob him, and he just kept mumbling, "No, sorry, good night," as he inched the door closed and locked it. He told me he was so effing scared at that point that they were going to try to break in through one of his windows or something, but he looked through the peephole and they had turned to leave. He watched TV with the volume really low so he could hear any sounds at all, and he said he'd stay up until like 5 a.m. because he was too scared to go to bed and drop his guard. Whole time he's telling me this, I'm thinking, oh my God, this sounds so familiar. Just like the Black-Eyed Kids urban legend. Then I thought, hey, maybe this dude is trying to scare me because after all, he does have the Halloween spirit. Okay. So I'm looking at him incredulously, but trying not to seem too gullible. So I'm like, man, that is really crazy. Sounds like the Black-Eyed Kids. He just looks at me blankly. The what? Is that a movie or something? Said no, but told him to go look it up online. Like an hour later, I get a knock on my door, and admittedly, I almost jumped out of my skin thinking it's a demon child. It was my neighbor, and his eyes were freaking huge. He swears to me up and down that he had never heard of BEKs before, and it's so similar to what happened to him. So we talked a while longer, and I told him that quite a few people probably know about the urban legend, and it's possible it was just teenagers with black eye contacts trying to freak people out on Halloween, which would be genius, by the way. But he said the fear he felt was so primal came over him the second he opened the door for them. So, wow. Could you imagine opening up your door? I don't see you at midnight on Halloween. That's probably not going to happen. But could you imagine opening your door on Halloween night and seeing two younger kids with nothing but black eyes asking to come in? Yeah. Matt saying that's the best Girl Scout cookies is Thin Mints. Jay, no, I didn't ask anybody to come on. I'm not opposed to if somebody wants to be on to pop in, send me a message or comment, and I'm willing to give it a try. Lee says do-si does. Is that the peanut butter ones, Lee, that I was asking the name for? And Matt says the weird part is that story is from April. Not a lot of trick. Not sorry for laughing. Not a lot of trick or treating in April. It says that in April. I guess I didn't see that. Where do you get April from? I don't know. I think you lost your mind, Matt. Eating too many mushrooms at work, huh? But I just figured I would kind of go with the flow. Yes, do-si does is the Girl Scout cookies I like. But I figure I would just give it a go and go with the flow and see and just go with it. I'm really surprised because I confirmed the other day that I confirmed with the Buffalo group if they would be on, and for some reason they must have something came up. I don't know. I didn't get an answer back from them. That's okay. Life gets the best of us. Who knows? I just hope if something did come up that it was something fun and they're enjoying themselves because why not wish that? No, but it'd be funny, is what Matt said. If you hear me like say a statement like no, that'd be funny. I've noticed in StreamYard, the people on Facebook are not able to see YouTube or Twitter, and YouTube can't see the other two and whatnot. So I might be reading things that you guys are not seeing. So the other question I had, I asked about the vampires. The other question would be kind of a horror themed question about Jason Voorhees. Me and Lee has had this conversation a few times. I believe me and Jason JWoww has mentioned it to each other once or twice. Jason Voorhees, what would you consider him? A zombie? Demon? Because he kind of falls in several different categories. So leave your answer, your comment on what you believe that Jason Voorhees from Friday the 13th might be. And let's see if we could figure that out, because that's Lee's favorite horror themed character. So yeah, the Black Eyed Kids is a very interesting phenomenon with so many questions. Now, some wonder if it's an internet hoax, and I can see why, but if they were around since the 80s, the internet wasn't very big back then. It was around, but it was mostly for like businesses and such. And it definitely wasn't high tech, high stream. There was not a lot of video quality. There wasn't a lot of high speeds to really have like these social media messaging and such that's out there now. Most time people were using it just to print banners and such and play Oregon Trail. So if it was back from the 80s, I would say that would be kind of hard pressed to say it's an internet hoax. But if they are connected to the clowns, like one and the same entity, well, then that's a whole new story, which brings a whole new life to it. Um, so all I know is that every time anybody describes these black-eyed kids, they always have a feeling of uneasiness, thought of dread, thought of running, and no reports of anybody being comforted by them or whatnot. So that's I've never heard of anything good. So the other topic that I wonder about these, what would you do if you brought these kids into your home and they started to tell you about other worlds and such as if they were aliens? Would you, and they say, let's go up to our UFO or, anything like that, would you join them? Would you, would you take them up on their offer or what? So sorry, I'm trying to arrange the thoughts in my record it. If you're lucky to have a camera mat, it sounds like most people are not thinking very straight after they are interacting with these beings. Do you believe they're true, or do you think that these are just a hoax? And I do agree with the person, but be careful with your kids. If you choose to let them go out trick or treating or pranking people or whatever, I would definitely keep them a safe distance from anybody that could kick them, especially if they're talented with crane kicks. So there's another phenomenon that's going on that I found interesting is people report finding stairs in the middle of the woods with no structure around them to indicate that they were part of anything. Let's see if I can find anything that would I could bring up. Travel magazine is the first one that pops up. Forgive me for the lack of conversation. Let's see. Share screen share. This is the first one that popped up. Yep. Once again, you guys won't be able to see it as good. Yeah. Maybe you guys can see it, and it's just my screen. So let's see. Jason Voorhees was human from 2 to 4, dying at the end of 4. He lay dormant through 5, got resurrected like Frankenstein in 6, thus creating the supernatural zombie Jason. So JWoww believes that Jason from Friday the 13th is a zombie and not a demon or such. Now, the interesting thing about the movie is there is, and I can't think of his name, the child from the first one is part of a band called The First Jason. I believe that's what it is. And he comes around my area, Warren, Pennsylvania, and puts on shows all the time. Definitely, Jay. I can understand that. So, So yeah, that's an interesting thing that he's now part of a heavy metal band called, I believe it's called First Jason. Um, he doesn't have a lot of. A couple of his songs are not very thought provoking. Like I believe it's one song is Run Jason Run or something along those lines. But check him out if you have a moment. Um, so let's see. Stairs in the woods. The simple explanation of the stairs in the woods phenomenon is these are stairs that rise from the ground and go up to the sky. The mysterious stairs are most often seen at night. See, I never heard that. It was just night. And looks as if they were built in the woods out of nowhere. There is no structure or building around them. Staircases is an architectural element that serves to climb from one floor. Well, you guys know what stairs are made out of, or the purpose of stairs. uh, let's see. I don't understand why they're explaining what stairs are. Like nobody knows what stairs are. uh, what is certain is that we cannot imagine staircases in the woods that are detached from its context. It is an element, a passage, or a conjunction. A staircase that leads nowhere would make sense. On the contrary, let's face it would disturb us even a little bit. Here, basically, the meaning of the story told on Reddit by Search and Rescue Woods, user who says he really works for the search and rescue team of people who get lost in the woods. His testimony concerns an American forest, and as we will see, many others come from the same geographic area. He explains how, during rescue missions within the dense vegetation, it is not at all unusual to encounter stairs that emerge from the trees, which lead nowhere, standing alone and with an unusually robust appearance. Man says first time was forbidden by his superiors. However, his superiors told him that he should not be surprised that it was quite normal. The man, however, says that he intuited in a completely instinctive way that he should not climb on it. Yeah, say all that real quick. Later, he did as older colleagues had told him. He ignored them, even though he had met many others years to come. I'm not going to read through all this. Yeah, that's what made me think of him, Lee. That he played at our local Holiday Inn a couple weeks ago. So, if somebody wants to jump on, I will definitely send you a link. But so this is what I know about stairs in the woods. It's pretty much as they said. People, I've read at least 15 different stories about people going through woods, hiking, or going through trails that are not usually used very often, as well as search and rescue teams and forest rangers and such, which go off some pretty unusual, unused paths, I'm sure. And they, as they're traveling through the woods in the United States, I don't think I've heard of them from any other country. They come across these stairs. There's no walls around them, no signs of building construction around them, and the stairs look perfectly intact with no real wear to suggest that anything around them would have been decayed. So people generally decide not to go up these stairs for some reason. They don't feel comfortable, and they don't stay in the presence of these staircases for long. They just kind of look at them and go about their way. The few people that have reported going up the stairs have said that they feel as if time starts slipping, like time becomes not a tangible thing anymore. And then they get to the top, and I believe I even remember reading one saying that they could almost see the area around them, but it was different. I don't know if they're trying to say that it was a different time or just a different filter like you would have on your camera lens. I'm not sure, but needless to say, it was a very unique experience that, I think I would probably adventure to do myself. Like the kids, I'd be probably a little more willing to try these instead of entertaining little kids with all black eyes. And so I don't know. What do you guys think? Would you go up these stairs if you found the set in the middle of nowhere? If you do, what kind of precautions would you take? I imagine if you're hiking, you probably have rope, and you're probably not by yourself most of the time. So maybe tie a rope around you and have your friend or significant other hold on to that end as you go up the stairs, or what you would do, I don't know. Let's see. That doesn't look like anybody's wanting to jump in. So I'm going to try to take this live stream for about another 13 minutes or so. And go from there. Yeah, Matt, I believe I would too. I mean, that it just doesn't seem like the risk outweighs the reward. So I would probably, I don't know if I'd run up the stairs, but I would definitely check them out. If there was three of us, I'd probably have somebody stand on the other side and try to take pictures of me getting to the top, looking through if there's a structure at the top, like a doorway, looking through. And Matt, I know you would. I appreciate that. So that's another thing. It's awfully funny that these urban legends are going on, but nobody's able to get pictures or anything. Not even bad grainy ones that people take for UFOs and Bigfoot and such. So have you guys, if you've seen such thing, leave a comment. If you've seen, another thing that I was mentioning earlier was UFOs. It's a very interesting time we live in now that the Pentagon and other government entities have came out and straight up said that they have video and seen and spoken about UFOs in the sense of unidentified flying objects. And we're not like going crazy over it. I heard somebody say not too long ago that if this would have been like the 70s, 80s, it would be broadcast everywhere for nonstop for weeks on end. And telescope sales would be through the roof, and people would be out there looking at skies for hours on end trying to see their UFOs. If you've seen a UFO, leave a comment below and let us know what you think. And speaking of that, we're having a couple of members of MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network, coming on in a couple of weeks. if they show up and not just going to be me chatting with you guys again, which, this is not bad. I'm getting into the groove, and I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. All 500 of you. The one thing I will say about these live streams and such, I've never been about the numbers in the sense of like, oh my God, I feel defeated that I haven't had 100 people on watching. I feel every person that joins me and talks or even just kind of hangs out and listens. You guys are what I like to call my personal core group. You guys are the ones here kind of encouraging me to keep going on and help me to stay on track and keep up with wanting to do this. And I really appreciate that you guys are willing to come here through most broadcasts that you can and leaving comments and such and sharing and liking, because I know that even though it's shared or it's on my YouTube and such, other groups share this as a whole, and your guys' groups and pages have your crew watching along as well. So it's really awesome, this support you guys give each other and to give us is very cool. I really appreciate that. And Lee, don't jinx us like that. And like I said, if you guys could help us get to 140 this weekend, that'd be great on our YouTube. That would be really awesome. I've been waiting for that number for about 2 weeks now. I don't check the numbers as much as I used to. I think that's because I'm comfortable enough to figure that growth will happen as long as we keep coming on and sharing and hanging out. You have a few minutes for what, Matt? To give me a hard time? To harass me in person? That kind of stuff? I mean, why would you do that? So I really appreciate everybody spending your Saturday nights with me and Matt and those that we bring on. So let's see. I'm gonna stop sharing the screen. You guys cannot see it, but I can. Oh no, Matt. You're decked out in uniform like me.
Oh, hold on. Gotta cover it.
Oh, I'm covered. Boy, this is harder than I thought.
Right? Should do the Macarena.
No doubt. I'm even covering up my fedora, and it doesn't have it on there. So are you avoiding the Noid, my friend?
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
No, I've been watching in between my deliveries. Well, I've had you on the entire time, but I got a pretty distant delivery, so I figured out what the hell, might as well come on.
Well, I appreciate it. You'll help me hit that 130 mark where I was gonna jump off anyways. So that definitely helps.
You helped me out last night, so might as well return the favor, right?
Oh, of course, sir. But I really enjoy sitting back and having these conversations with you. And when I'm not on, you have some great people on your show. Why don't you take a moment and tell those that might not know your show, which would only be one or two people that would be in the
they don't know me.
I mean, we've been pretty.
I have my own channel. No, go ahead. Your go.
I was just saying we've pretty much been interacting with each other since almost day one. So actually, you are my first guest that I ever had on a show like this.
I feel so privileged, and I think you were too. You were my first as well.
Well, awesome. So go ahead and explain who you are.
Well, as the name suggests over there, hey, I got it right this time. I got the direction.
We're getting better.
My name is Matt. Yeah, we're getting there. My name is Matt, and I call myself a paranormal consultant. I have a Facebook page, YouTube page, Twitter, Twitch, a bunch of different things. I go live, try to go live every Friday night at 9 p.m. Send out all my links on all my pages. Well, mainly my Facebook, but yeah, I have different guests on every week. They range from people I do know, people I don't know, this guy over here, and it's always a fun time. Always a fun time.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we always wonder what we're going to speak about when we're jumping on each other's show, but we'd never really truly have that problem. Once we start going, it seems like conversation flows and time flies, and
like last night.
Yeah. We were actually, for those that don't know, which is probably most of you guys, is we had all this Black Eyed Kids stuff ready to go for just in case we hit a lull, which kind of helped me out today because it gave me something to kind of chat about.
Hey, I like the video so far. You do a great job.
Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, I don't know if it'll ever get easier. You okay? You're bouncing around there pretty good.
So they can play at home. I love them.
I don't know if I'll ever be comfortable in front of a camera on my own, but
well, I know what helps me a lot of times. I know you said to me whenever I'm by myself, I do a good job. I honestly just forget that I'm even on camera, and I just talk to the audience. I ignore it. I pick out a couple people or comments or whatever, and I just chat with them.
Nice. Have you ever seen a UFO personally?
I've seen things that I can't explain. I've seen lights in the sky that, I can't figure out. I've seen things like I think most of us have to where we just don't know. We just can't figure out what exactly they are. But to actually say it was an absolute UFO, well, I mean, if you can't identify it, then I guess
it's a UFO. And by the terms, but
but my problem with saying it like that is if you don't know the night sky, like you don't know the constellations or where the ISS is or something like that, I mean, you can see a satellite going over top, and you can classify that as a UFO. But I've seen some light configurations that I just can't figure out. But to say they're like I've seen an actual UFO alien spacecraft, probably not. But there again, I think we've talked about it. Sorry if I'm looking around, by the way. I'm waiting for my customer.
No, you're good. Just in case you guys don't know and cannot see, Matt's at work at a local pizza joint. So when he says he's waiting for his customer for delivery in a car, it's not as seedy as it looks.
Smells delicious, though. I'm gonna tell you that much.
It's oregano.
It's a bad part about driving. You get hungry because you smell all the food. Never mind. Here's my customer. See you right back.
See you in a minute. Well, Matt's doing that. While Matt's doing that, he's awfully nice of him to jump on and help out. But we get to watch a pizza delivery in action. So, I really appreciate you guys spending your Saturday nights with me. It's always fun to have the interaction that we have. I'm going to sit down and come up with a few topics for times where I don't have somebody on that's not able to jump on, and have it ready to go. So
YOLO.
that way, hey Matt. So that way, when a guest is not able to make it, I could have like videos or pictures ready to go. So
What were we talking about? UFOs.
UFOs.
So I think you and I have talked about this before about extraterrestrial life. Me personally, there's millions and millions of galaxies out there. To say we are the smartest and only existence is kind of
Conceited.
prideful.
Vain.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I would do. How active are they here on Earth? I mean, there's been reports that date back, even before, the ancient Egyptians. So there's got to be some sort of truth to it. Now, how truthful it is, I don't know. But I don't think, we need to call Will Smith anytime soon to come help.
No. I don't know. I do feel that they're already here. I feel like they interact with us. I feel that when the time is right, they'll come out. I don't believe it's like the Men in Black. I don't believe it's. I don't believe there's reptilians ruling our government and all that. I don't buy into those theories, but I do believe that they are peacefully coexisting with us to some degree.
Well, to give our buddy Doug a shout out, if they are working at the post service, I think Doug would know.
Well, that one that was in the movie was very, very. What's the word I want to look for? Very skilled at his job. So
yes, what the guy in the sorter, I loved him. He was great.
He was awesome.
But I'll tell you what, if there are any Vulcanians out there, I want to meet these guys.
Yeah.
If you get the reference.
So you hear it here. He wants to meet you in person, I think he's saying.
Yeah, let me see those Vulcanians, because I just think that'd be just something.
And
Tell me that's not a little opportunity right there.
If they'd let you. And I will go on record, and I'm sure that I'm probably going to regret saying this, but if you are an alien and you want to come out to the world, contact me and we'll have you on the show.
And then I'll steal your guest then after, like I've been doing.
Oh, no. See, the nice thing about having our guests going on both shows is, yes, we have people that follow both of us, but we also have people that have that watches me or you. So,
Yep.
so they reach a broader range of people.
And they get well, as of today, they get even backstage access to us, thanks to you.
No doubt.
It's top secret, folks. So if you want to know, become a guest.
There you go. Little membership things there. But,
we'll have business cards and membership cards, all that good stuff.
Yeah, just send $299 for a 99-cent card.
$19.99 shipping and handling.
Lee, you saying you've seen an alien in the daylight? No, I know what he's speaking of. He's talking about a UFO.
Now, I still think that they are, like, we see them, and I think they're more active than what people notice. Because if you really think about it, well, I don't know about yourself, Scott, but I know me. Unless I'm actually thinking about it, I don't pay attention to like the sky or stuff like that unless I actually think about it.
Well, most people are too busy looking down at their phones to notice what's going on in the sky.
Yeah.
So JWoww is saying, with you, the aliens are getting the professional. And with me, they get off topic.
Jay, you might want to watch some more of my videos.
Yeah, I think last night we spent about a total of 3 minutes on paranormal.
Yeah, an hour-long video that turned into about 10 minutes of fedoras and hats.
10
and the
minutes
rest
of
of it, yeah.
Some
Like,
Chinese, some candy.
Mm-hmm. Which, by the way, I found out we are getting some sent. I don't know if you saw that message, but
I did get pictures.
I'm trying that live. I'm going to try that candy live for our Canadian family.
Awesome. I might end up doing the same thing.
Actually, I was thinking about it. What do you guys think in the comments? We're going to be getting sent these Canadian candies. What are they called? Chicken bones. I think
chicken bone candy. Yeah, have you guys ever had chicken bone candy?
I want to see in the comments who thinks Scott and I should do a live tasting, and we'll even get our Canadian family to join us, so we can see like the natural reaction of people who've grown up with this stuff compared to us Americans who have never heard about this.
No doubt. And Jay yells out, "Fedoras!"
Which this is the thing you'll understand, Scott. But that hat that I put on the chat last night, that was legitimately bought. I actually bought that hat.
Well, I don't think you stole it.
Well, I'm going to leave it as a surprise. But I was looking for fedoras to wear on my show because that's how you be successful on YouTube, and I ended up finding one that's even better. No offense, I love. So that's gonna be the surprise, and it should be coming before my next video. And as far as my understanding, Dave and I are still good to go. So we'll see.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, I understand things come up, so I'm not upset with the Buffalo group. Things happen. So I got two groups that I need to reschedule.
Well, I hope that the Buffalo group, everybody's okay, everything's good to go, and like you said, hopefully they just found a really good, interesting spot to investigate.
Right, investigate. Maybe they got a surprise trip to the Bahamas. I mean,
oh, luckies. But hey, I'm back at the store, Scott. It was a pleasure talking with you again. I still will be on watching and listening while you're still live. So,
well, I'm about to wrap it up. Jay saying there's patriotic fedoras. Lee will say that they probably won't fit my head because a lot of those are small. Yeah, great job. But thank you for jumping on and help me wrap up the last.
Anytime. You guys have a great night.
See you later, Matt.
See ya.
Well, thank you, Matt, for jumping on. Awfully cool of you to do so. Jay, I'll check him out. I've been looking for a new fedora. I like this one, but variety is spice of life, right? So I've been kind of glancing online and such. I just haven't found one that really screams at me yet. So I'll check that out. Maybe before the 4th of July, I'll wear something. So with that being said, I am going to end this broadcast because I am surprised that I was able to carry this on for over an hour. Hopefully you guys found some entertainment out of this. If you do, give me a last minute like and heart or whatever it is that you found. Those that came that were new, if you're still with me, very cool. Thank you. Hopefully we'll keep getting guests on and we'll reschedule the couple that just missed. We hit a dry spot lately where things have been going on and people haven't been able to make it. So let's hope that streak breaks. I'll knock on wood. My next guest is not a paranormal investigator. His name is Denny, and he's a local. I almost want to say storyteller. I don't know if that would be accurate, but he's a local person of interest who has unique experiences in Bigfoot and in things of local lore of the Warren, PA area and northwestern part of Pennsylvania. I'm going to call him and connect with him again here and make sure that he's still a go. After that, we're going to have a couple members from MUFON, Mutual UFO Network, coming up and speak about cases around the Warren, Pennsylvania area and who MUFON is and how you can get connected with them. So I'm looking forward to speaking with all these guests. If you want to become a guest on this broadcast, send me a message on here, YouTube, Facebook, or even email. I think we have that here somewhere. Yes, send me an email here at waspofwarren@yahoo.com. We'll try to set something up to bring you on. There's a couple of people that I am going to actively seek for myself to take the step to bring on. I haven't done the ticker thing all day. But so I appreciate you guys hanging out. If you can, jump over YouTube if you're not on YouTube already and subscribe. That's going to help get that out, and then that's going to open up more avenues for us to say, hey, come on to the show. We got a broad audience that joins us every time, and encourage more content creators and such, the paranormal sort, to join us. So with that being said, I want you all to have a wonderful Saturday night. I want you guys to enjoy your weekend and your holidays, and because most people are now on day 2 of their 3 to 4 day weekend. So I say good night and God bless. Bye, guys.